Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Craig Malkin, a clinical psychologist and lecturer for Harvard Medical School. I'm also the author of Rethinking Narcissism, which is devoted to helping you understand and cope with narcissism in all its forms and all your relationships. Today, I want to circle back and talk about neediness. I've addressed this topic before, but I want to add to what I've said just to help people understand when they get into the state and to help you hold on to really the overarching message. I want to quote to you the attachment researcher John Bowlby, who said, "We are only as needy as our unmet needs." We are only as needy as our unmet needs. I want you to keep that in mind as we're talking today. If you like my videos, please give them a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe by turning the notification bell on so you can see them when they come in. And share your comments so I can respond to them. This is another one that somebody asked me to do quickly. So here we go. Sources of neediness. How does this happen? How do you understand when you get into a state of mind where you're feeling like you're clingier than you would like to be, or that you're feeling like your needs are too strong? Remember John Bowlby's quote, "We are only as needy as our unmet needs." So the first source of neediness that you want to take stock of in your life, and this is particularly true of somebody who's in a difficult relationship, whether it is with a partner or friend who's extremely narcissistic and doesn't attend to them in a very attuned way, you want to take stock of whether or not your relationships across the board are really meeting your needs. Because if you're on a kind of semi-starvation diet where you get a little bit of your need met or some of it, that actually makes them press more. And if you want to understand that, really just go back to the metaphor that I just introduced about food. We know from researches that's been done on food, if you give people just enough food to survive, but not enough to ever feel fully satisfied, they think about food all the time, they're obsessed over it, they sleep and they have dreams about food. It's always with them in some way, and the same thing can happen with our needs. If you're on a semi-starvation diet in terms of your needs being met because friends don't really tune in, or partners don't really tune in, this is going to make you feel more needy. The second source of neediness is that if you are someone who struggles with egoism, and I encourage you to go back and watch my videos if you don't know what egoism is, but briefly, it's a fear of seeming narcissistic in any way, and it's a fear of having needs or becoming a burden in some way. So people who struggle with egoism, but not just people who struggle with egoism, are often anxious about expressing their needs. They're uncomfortable giving voice to their needs. It creates a lot of discomfort in them, and as soon as they're aware that they do have some level of need, and nothing makes needs more intense than adding anxiety to them. If you take any emotion really and add a fight or flight state to it where it feels like it's not okay to have that emotion, it actually makes it more intense. A metaphor I often use to explain this is feelings are a lot like air in a container. The smaller the container, the greater the pressure. So if you've got that worry, if you've got that fear about your needs being too much for other people, it actually can make them more intense because you're trying to contain them and they're pressing all the harder. So this leads to the logical conclusion that if you want to take care of that kind of neediness, you have to get more comfortable with the fact that you have needs at all. And a third related way that people start to experience neediness, and this is very much based on my research and helping people with egoism that I address in Rethinking Narcissism, if you are so anxious about having needs that it's hard to even sit with them when they're unmet, the easiest way to get rid of a need is to get it met immediately. So the more uncomfortable you are and the more fear, and this often happens with people who've experienced neglect in their past, these old feelings come up, whether it's in a recent past or remote past, could be a relationship. If they have this experience that if their needs aren't met right away, something bad happens, they're hurt, they're left alone, they're attacked or criticized in some way. So this sets up a situation where precisely because the person is anxious, because if you start to feel anxious about even having the first glimpse of those needs, you're going to want to get rid of them right away. And this leads to a pattern that I call need panic. You may have heard me talk about that before. That is, you might even be the kind of person who doesn't even particularly get very clingy or doesn't really have any strong sense of need. And then suddenly you have a period in your life where actually you do need some help. You do need some support, but you're so uncomfortable and anxious about being in that position. It throws you into need panic, and now you have to reach out immediately to try to get that phone call or text or reach out to this other friend who you haven't heard from yet. And the need comes with that sense of panic. And again, it's similar to the second point that I made. Anxiety plus need makes the needs more intense. So you can also hear throughout this that the whole experience of neediness is kind of constructed. It's kind of created, and it's created by a relationship to our needs. Get comfortable with your needs and that sense of being needy, and your clarity about what it is that you need in your life so that you don't feel that way, so that you're not in the position John Bowlby describes of being needy because of unmet needs. All of that resolves. So I hope you found that helpful. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, come back, like, comment. I plan to share more. Thanks.